Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. This is Kana, you're in my corner, and I actually have a very special guest in my corner as well. Welcome to the show, Kevin McKeever. Can you explain to everybody what it is you do?
Hello, Kana. It's wonderful to be on your show. I'm happy to be in your corner. I handle marketing worldwide for the Robotech franchise. I work for Harmony Gold down here in Los Angeles, right here on beautiful Sunset Boulevard, and handle marketing worldwide for the Robotech franchise and promoting the franchise and that sort of thing, and helping Tommy Yoon, our creative director, in any way he needs help. And there you go.
Sounds very awesome. And can you tell us a little bit about how the company itself started?
How Harmony Gold started? Harmony Gold started in 1983 by its owner, Frank Agrama. It was designed, as an independent film and production company, and they started out very small, and they acquired anime properties. They also did live-action properties. Harmony Gold's done such television miniseries as Shaka Zulu, King of the Olympics, and also did Around the World with 80 Days starring Pierce Brosnan. And, of course, Harmony Gold was one of the early pioneers of anime. They created Robotech, obviously, but also at the time they acquired several anime properties and dubbed them and released them here in North America. So in many ways, Harmony Gold was one of the anime companies that sort of was part of that boom of anime that opened the door to the anime industry we see today about 25 years ago.
Oh, definitely, and that's sort of the foundation of what made it so mainstream now.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah, you have to remember, people come up to me or I'm sure to you at conventions or gatherings and say, anime started in 2000 with Cowboy Bebop or something, and that's not true. It was actually 25 years ago, back in 1985. You had shows like Robotech and to some extent Voltron, where they were out there in what was then called afternoon prime time. And for those of you wondering, afternoon prime time is considered the time slot between 2 o'clock and 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And broadcast television stations were looking for syndicated programming to fill that time slot. And, Harmony Gold and a couple other companies, they began acquiring anime, and they would dub them, and they would sell them to TV stations to air in those time slots. And, that's really how, with Robotech, which really broke all the rules for how anime and cartoons in general were looked at in North America, Harmony Gold, broke all the rules, created Robotech, and in essence opened the door to the anime franchises we see today. I mean, before then, folks, it's hard to believe, but before then, anime, if it was dubbed, it was often severely, severely edited. Any references to violence were cut out. Any references to romance were cut out. Any adult references like drinking or even smoking were cut out. Violence was cut out. Even the impacts or that sort of thing, they were cut out. It wasn't until Robotech came along where that sort of changed sort of the mindset of how anime was viewed. It was viewed as sort of like a cheap way to fill time, but then after Robotech, all of a sudden people began saying, hey, you know what? If we have good plots and good story and good acting and, treat the audience with respect, people will watch it. And sure enough, that opened up the door for other anime properties to come over. Sailor Moon in the mid-'90s, Pokemon in the late 90s, and also other shows like Cowboy Bebop, and I'm sure we can name a whole host of other shows. But they began to come over as people saying, hey, look, we can translate this faithfully and have and an audience will show up and watch it.
Now, I'm wondering, this is more direct towards you, but when you were growing up, did you actually know what anime was?
When I first saw Robotech, I didn't know what it was. I knew it was a cartoon, but I didn't know where it was from. I didn't know it was from Japan. I didn't know there was this whole anime industry in Japan. It wasn't until I bought the book Robotech Art 1 that I began to see, oh my God, there's this whole other sort of world out there of animation aimed at adults. And for many people, Robotech was sort of their first introduction to what the anime industry was in Japan. There are these big studios in Japan. There are shows aired in prime time during the evening in Japan for all audiences, not just kids on Saturday mornings. That for me, Robotech exposed me to that and realized, oh my God, there's a whole other industry out there.
And you obviously found yourself at Harmony Gold, so that must be sort of a really big thing for you, since that was kind of a part of your childhood or your younger years.
Well, I mean, it is. It is. It's very cool. I enjoy my job. I love my job. I remember one fan said to me, "My God, Kevin, you've got the dream job." And you know what? He's right. I don't want to sound like I'm doing my own order, but it's right. It is the dream job. It is working in the toy department all day, every day. And, you know, it's really nice because in Hollywood, you know, a lot of times you work on things because you just need the money. I work on something, I need the money, great, I need to pay my rent. I'm very lucky where I can work on something that pays my rent, but also something I truly and genuinely enjoy. And it's really nice to work on a franchise like Robotech and make a wonderful contribution to that franchise, and also get paid to do it, which is you know, sort of like a gravy train. You know, oftentimes you'll hear people in Hollywood say, "Oh God, you know, I don't like working on this," or "Oh God, I'm only working on this for the money." And it's like, God, I love my job. I love working on Robotech. It's great. It's wonderful. I work with wonderful people every day. You know, working at Harmony Gold, it's a bunch of great people work here, and you know, it's just a lot of just. You know, I like coming into work every day. It's just very, very satisfying on a very personal level as well.
Now, I'm curious because, you know, there has been the anime boom and it's slowed down a little bit. Have you guys been trying to sort of combat that in any way?
Well, it's important to understand, because fans are talking about this right now. We have a global recession going on. We have anime sales in decline, and everybody's running around panicking like, oh my God, anime's never gone through this before. The North American anime industry is just doomed, I tell you. And you know what, folks? I'm here to tell you right now, you're completely wrong if you think that. Because as I mentioned this before, you know, Harmony Gold and a couple other companies in the mid-'80s began doing anime. Well, after the success of Robotech, a lot of other people said, hey, you know what? If Harmony Gold can do it, well, we can do it too. And a lot of new anime companies in North America actually formed. And they began importing anime and dubbing it and releasing it on VHS tapes. Those of you, the older people in the audience, remember those are, I'm sure. And they released anime tapes. And folks, let me on a little interesting secret. Back in Protoculture Addicts, back in the late 1980s, talked about the issue of piracy. They specifically said in one of their early issues, they said, folks, do not copy your friend's anime VHS tapes. You know, like back in the days, you had two VCRs, you could hook one up to another, in essence, make a copy of a VHS tape. So they said, don't copy the VHS tapes, because if you do that, companies' profits will dry up, and then there'll be no more anime. If you want the fruits, don't kill the tree. And, you know, believe it or not, we went through that. The whole industry went through a consolidation. It expanded. It looked like the sky was the limit. And then a recession hit in the early 1990s. Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. Gas prices went up. There was a banking crisis in the early 1990s. Anyone in New England can remember the Bank of New England failure and numerous other bank failures, or the Risdick scandal in Rhode Island. There was a housing crisis because there was a housing bubble back in the 1980s, and that burst in the early 1990s. And guess what? The Japanese yen plummeted severely. Back in 1985, the Japanese yen was $1. $1 bought you 240 Japanese yen. By the end of like 1992, it bought you maybe 130, 120, around there. A shocking drop if you think about it. That all occurred back in the early 90s. Yet the anime industry survived, in fact, actually prospered in a far stronger way than it did before. And I emphasize that when people say, "Oh my God, look at this contraction! Oh, look at today! These companies are going out of business, and the yen is declining, and the dollar is strengthening, and the unemployment is so high, and what are we going to do? We've never experienced it before." I tell people, no, folks, believe it or not, the North American anime industry experienced this before. It experienced it 20 years ago, and it survived. It will survive. Now, is it difficult? Absolutely. I'll be the first to tell you it's difficult. I mean, there are lots of things that, you know, you wish you could do, but you can't because you have a budget you have to maintain in this environment. But, I mean, one thing we don't do here at Harmony Gold is panic, because there isn't a reason to panic because, you know, believe it or not, Harmony Gold has been through this before. We were we were around back in 1990, and we're still around here today. In fact, a lot of companies that have risen and fallen, well, we've still gone along very, very well because we manage our company very, very smartly. The important thing to survive what's going on, this is important for anime fans to understand, is that companies, from a company perspective, have to manage their finances and manage their companies very, very smartly. They have to understand that the market is contracting, that the easy money from the easy money of the early 2000s is gone. It used to be if you put an anime character on a DVD, you could sell just tons of DVDs very, very quickly. That era is ended. That era is ended completely. Now you actually have to market your properties. You have to acquire them at the right price. You have to spend the right amount of money to dub them correctly, and you have to find the right way to market them in a cost-effective manner. And that is something we here at Harmony Gold have been doing and will continue to do to survive what is going on throughout the industry. But as I said before, we have been here before. And believe it or not, folks, 20 years from now, we'll probably all be here again. Something to look forward to.
Oh boy! But
sorry if I totally blew your mind or made everybody like, God, economics, my God! I thought we were talking about anime, for crying out loud.
Oh, not at all. I find it really interesting, but obviously, it is easier for you guys if you do get more support and people are buying the DVDs and they're not pirating, correct?
Well, it is true. Getting down to piracy, piracy is a big issue, and the good thing is that, on both sides of the Pacific, in Japan and here in North America, people are starting to understand that, look, this is a really big issue because it's affecting revenue now. And the way to combat piracy is, look, we've had a whole generation of kids, and they're not doing it to be mean or be nasty, but who've grown up getting their anime for free off YouTube from fan subs. I remember when I attended an anime convention in my home state of Connecticut, and we were in an autograph line, and a girl comes up to me and asks me, well, what do you do? And I say, I'm Kevin McKeever, and I work for Harmony Gold. And she goes, oh, really? Well, what does Harmony Gold do? I said, well, we did RoboCheck the Shadow Chronicles. She goes, oh, I haven't downloaded that off YouTube yet. And she said it. She wasn't doing it to be mean. She wasn't doing it to say, I'm here to steal from you. She was just, that's the way she watched her anime on YouTube for free because she saw it via fan subs. And we as an industry had to figure out a way, okay, how do we adapt this to monetize it? And you're already starting to see that going on right now. Just to give you an idea, you can now watch RoboCheck the Shadow Chronicles legally for free online at Hulu.com and on YouTube.com as well. We've worked out deals with both of them, and we've done it so we can monetize both Hulu.com and YouTube.com. And you can also buy RoboCheck the Shadow Chronicles on iTunes as well. So we, as a company, as Harmony Gold, have found ways to take advantage of these platforms, of these new platforms, of the Internet, for like just being a general term, of the Internet platform, and are finding ways to monetize it. 25 years ago, to show you an example of this, it was VHS was sort of the way to go, but even that struggled in the beginning. Back in 1985, 86, 87, 88, and 89, it was very rare for people in general to buy movies on VHS. Renting them, yes. The video store down the street, yes. Remember those. But I mean, you could rent your VHS tapes. It wasn't until like the early to mid-90s that the studios began releasing their major titles on VHS for sale. And it took several years for that market to evolve. And eventually it did, and eventually we had DVDs, and we all know what happened there. But once again, though, it just goes to show you that it was the same way for anime, because back in 1985, anime on VHS, well, who's going to buy it? No one buys live-action movies on VHS. But now you can walk down to your store, walk down to a Walmart, and buy, well, not on VHS, obviously on DVD, but you can buy your anime on DVD and buy it for home video and buy it and walk home and watch it. That's an evolved market. We're the same way, the Internet's the same way VHS was 25 years ago. That's where we are right now.
Actually, that's really interesting to me, and I'm sure a lot of our listeners are entertained by that. But if you want to hear more, you have to stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan, because we're taking a short break. So keep it tuned to your favorite station. Everything you want, nothing you don't.
Don't you want to go to a store that is completely dedicated to satisfying your video gaming needs? Don't you want a store that will allow you to rent and buy games at cheap prices? Well, I'll tell you exactly where you need to go. Game Tag. You can even visit their site to buy their games online as well as gaming platforms for all of your video gaming needs. Just visit GameTagStores.com. Simple, right? I honestly don't understand what you're doing sitting there. Stop being so lazy. You know you want it.
Hey everybody, you're tuned in to 91.8 The Fan. We are back with my super special awesome guest, and we were talking behind the scenes, where you can't hear, about actually the show you guys do. You said you were doing a bunch of shows this year.
Yes, part of our marketing for Robotech, we talked about doing smart marketing in the previous segment. Part of what we do for Robotech is we're a firm believer in grassroots marketing. And one of the things that we're very adamant about doing is meeting our fans at conventions. And as I'm sure your readership already knows, there are, quite literally hundreds of anime conventions in North America. And so what we do is at Harmony Gold is we do what's called the Robotech Convention Tour, where the Harmony Gold Robotech staff goes out to various conventions and talks about the show and gives away prizes and meets the fans, and we take questions and we sign autographs and do a whole bunch of other wacky things that you have to go to the conventions to find out at. But, that's one of the things we do as part of our marketing plan is that we go on average about 15 shows every year. Example, our next show upcoming will be ACON 21 in Dallas. I will be going there as the official Harmony Gold representative, talking about the 25th anniversary for Robotech.
And now, that actually must be interesting to interact with the fans and see all of their reactions to, what it is you guys are doing.
Well, it's not just interesting, it's interesting, but also it's very, very important to the franchise to get out there and see the reactions and you hear the feedback instantly from the fans. Being online, to be honest with you, is somewhat impersonal now because everybody's online. And, there's only so much interactivity you can do via an internet chat or an internet forum. When you're in a room with a group of people, they can ask questions, you can give them answers, and immediately they can ask follow-up questions, and you can create, a good information exchange. And it's good marketing as well because you're in their place where they go and live and work every day, and you're coming to where they live and work, and you're interacting with them like on their turf. And it's really good. It's a good thing to do. I'm very adamant that we continue to do conventions. We have great relationships with conventions all over the country, if not the world. And those are one of the things that we do constantly to help build interest in the franchise, not just current Robotech fans, but also it's a good way to find new Robotech fans, because one of the things that we're finding out is, and we're seeing this a lot, is that people are hearing about Robotech at anime conventions who are younger, who weren't alive when the show was originally on the air, but they hear about Robotech and they see it and go, well, Robotech, what is this? Well, there's this Robotech panel. I will go check it out. And we've had numerous people come in to the Robotech panels and they're shocked to see, oh my God, there's all this stuff going on with Robotech. There's a live action film and there's Robotech Shadow Chronicles and there's video games and there's toys and there's, you can watch it for free now on Hulu legally, and holy cow, and this is really cool, and they become fans as well. So conventions are a very important marketing tool for Robotech and for us to market the franchise. I can't emphasize them enough. I mean, it's always been a very positive experience for us as the people who work on the franchise to meet and talk with the fans. We also notice that it just helps out the franchise immensely as a business as well.
And could you tell our listeners out there when your next convention is, or when they can catch you next?
Our next convention will be ACON, and it will be, my schedule coming up, we'll be at Project ACON 21 in Dallas, Texas, June 4th through 6th. And then after that, we'll be in Hampton, Virginia for Anime Mid-Atlantic, June 11th through 13th. After that, in the month of June, we'll be in Somerset, New Jersey for Anime Next, June 18th.
Oh, you will see one of our correspondents there.
See? Well, there we go. I will be in Somerset, New Jersey for June 18th to 21st for Anime Next. And, of course, the grand day of them all, Anime Expo here in Los Angeles, California. The entire Robotech team will be there July 1st through 4th. We just got our panels approved by Anime Expo, so we're really looking forward to doing them at Anime Expo. And we will be at MechaCon in New Orleans, Louisiana, July 16th through 18th, where myself, Tommy Yoon, the creative director for Harmony Gold, and a good well, I'd say a large portion, but several key members of the Robotech cast will be there for what's going to be the signature Robotech convention event of the summer.
Ooh, that sounds fancy, and hopefully you will actually might be able to meet at Anime Expo, because that's the one that I'm always sent to, because that is huge.
Yes, it is. It is very large in the very large LA Convention Center. I thought, gosh, so the LA Convention Center will swallow up Anime Expo. Nope, it didn't. All the fans come out and just sort of fill the convention center everywhere you go. It's anime, so it's kind of, and it's nice too because it's right down the street for us, so we can just it's like just driving right down the street, which is kind of nice. So.
Oh, you guys are lucky. You probably don't have to pay for that really expensive parking. You can just drive people out.
No. In LA, trust me, if it's not. If you have to drive somewhere, trust me, you're paying for parking. You can't walk to it. We have to drive. It's close in LA. It's probably a considerable drive anywhere else, so that means you have to pay for parking. Trust me, we pay for parking. We know the parking situation very well.
Well, good to know. And for our listeners, can they keep updated on maybe social media? Do you guys do Facebook or Twitter, or do you have a website?
Yes. There are three key platforms for Robotech fans, or fans who are interested in finding out more about Robotech. First off is Robotech.com, which is the main Robotech website. Just trust me, it's the main Robotech website. We are also on Twitter. If you go to Facebook.com/Robotech, you'll go to the official Robotech page on Facebook. We're also on Twitter at Twitter.com/Robotech News, all one word, which is our Robotech Twitter news feed, where often we are now breaking news about the Robotech franchise first on the Twitter feed. Oftentimes you'll see photos for things behind the scenes here at Harmony Gold, and just some interesting things as well on the Twitter feed.
And now, obviously, I have to end with what's coming up next for Harmony Gold.
Well, right now there are three things going on at Harmony Gold involving Robotech. First off, there is the live-action Robotech movie over at Warner Brothers. We have Tobey Maguire attached to produce. We also have Jason Netter, who produced Wanted, attached to produce. And we also have Akiva Goldsman, who won the Academy Award for A Beautiful Mind. He's attached to produce as well. So the live-action Robotech movie being worked on at Warner Brothers. We have the sequel to Robotech Shadow Chronicles, called Robotech Shadow Rising, and we have a couple other Robotech projects that are currently in active development that I can't go into right now, but you're going to see one of them pop up during the convention tour at some point in the future. And of course, we will have a very special event at the California State Fair in Sacramento later in July after Anime Expo. I will simply say this: we are building something very, very cool.
Ooh, that sounds exciting.
Yes, we're actually building something. And folks, I'm quite literally not kidding you. We are quite literally building something. I won't say what it is, but it's very, very cool.
We understand that you can't get into the details. We know those lovely NDAs. We're under them, too. But well, folks, one thing, though, because a lot of times people complain, well, why aren't you telling us more of this stuff? You just, hint or say something. Where are these NDAs? Folks, in Hollywood or in entertainment in general, to work at a production company, you will often have to sign an NDA because oftentimes you have to wait until things are ready to be shown before you can really talk about them. And we're not doing it to be mean. We're not doing it to be, we know something you don't know. We're not doing it to be like that. It's just the way the industry works. Folks, I can assure you, when you find out what we're building, and you're going to in July, you're really going to like what we're building. Okay, that's all I'm going to say. And before I let you go, I was wondering if you'd like to participate in a 91.8 The Fan tradition.
It depends. Depends what that tradition is.
It's not painful. No. Actually, we ask everybody who comes on, whether they're a voice actor or not, if they'd be willing to say a line for us.
Okay.
We basically ask, and you fill in the blanks, if you'd be willing to say, my name is, I do this, and you're tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Okay, hold on one second here.
He's like, I'm writing this down.
Oh, no, yeah, I write it down. Make sure. Okay, here we go. Hello there, everyone. My name's Kevin McKeever, and you are tuned in to 91.8 The Fan.
Do you want to try one more time and then put your
title
in the middle?
I kind of screwed that up. Okay.
Be like what your name is and then what it is that you do?
Yes. Yep. Hello, my name's Kevin McKeever. I handle marketing for Robotech, and you are tuned into 91.8 The Fan.
Perfect. See, that wasn't so hard.
Well, no, it only took me 2 tries to get it, but
That's okay. It's taken a few voice actors about 6 tries, so you're all right. Is there anything else you'd like to tell the listeners out there?
Well, no, we just want to welcome. I want to say if you are not a Robotech fan and you're just interested in Robotech or want to find out more, you are welcome to come to Robotech.com or our Facebook page or our Twitter feed, and just or come to one of our panels at conventions and just check it out. We welcome everyone, young, old. Our franchise covers the whole gamut of demographics. People from 8 to 80. Our franchise welcomes everyone. So, welcome everyone, particularly the younger anime fans who maybe heard about Robotech but don't know a lot about it. Come on down. The door is open.
Awesome, and thank you so much for joining the show. It was a pleasure to have you.
Well, it was a pleasure talking with you all. I enjoyed it immensely.
And for everybody out there, if you missed any of this interview, make sure to stay tuned to 91.8 The Fan because it'll be up in the next few days, so keep it tuned to your favorite station.